Spurgeon preached this sermon in June 1864, long before 1948. So we can see how Christians already believed, with the eye of faith, they saw the impossible, that Israel would be restored as a nation, that the Jews would return to the land. So again, this is the restoration and conversion of the Jews by Charles Haddon Spurgeon, to do with Ezekiel 37, and I encourage you to read Ezekiel 37. This passage again has been very frequently, and I dare say very properly, used to describe the revival of a decayed church. This vision may be looked upon as descriptive of a state of lukewarmness and spiritual lethargy in a church, when the question may be sorrowfully asked, can these bones live? But while we admit this to be a very fitting accommodation of our text, yet we are quite convinced that it is not to this that the passage refers. It would be altogether alien to the prophet's train of thought to be thinking about the restoration of fallen zeal and the rekindling of expiring love. He was not considering the Reformation either of Luther or of Whitefield, or about the revival of one church or another. No, he was talking of his own people, of his own race, of his own tribe. He surely ought to have known his own mind, and led by the Holy Spirit, he gives us as an explanation the vision, not, thus saith the Lord, my dying church shall be restored, but I will bring my people out of their graves and bring them into the land of Israel. With very great propriety, too, this passage has been used for the comforting of believers in their dark and cloudy days, but they have lost their comforts, when their spiritual joys have drooped like withering flowers. They have been reminded that God could return to them in grace and mercy, that the dry bones could live and should live, that the Spirit of God could again come upon his people, that even at the time when they were ready to give up all hope and lie down in despair, he could come and so quicken them that the poor trembling cowards should be turned into soldiers of God, and should stand upon their feet an exceeding great army. Once more, there is no doubt that we have in this passage a most striking picture of the restoration of dead souls to spiritual life. Men by nature are just like these dry bones exposed in the open valley. The whole spiritual frame is dislocated. The sap and marrow of spiritual life has been dried out of manhood. Human nature is not simply dead, but like the bleaching bones which have long whitened in the sun, it has lost all trace of divine life. Will and power have both departed. Spiritual death reigns undisturbed, yet the dry bones can live. Under the preaching of the word, the vilest sinners can be reclaimed. The most stubborn wills can be subdued. The most unholy lives can be sanctified. When the holy breath comes from the four winds, when the divine spirit descends to own the word, then multitudes